What is up, my friends? Welcome back to the Formula Podcast with your friendly neighborhood host, Trevor Carlson. I share with you my experiences, experiments, and conversations around designing a fulfilling life in whatever form that means for you. This episode is an audio version of a blog post I wrote back when I was in Tirana, Albania. The lessons that we can learn from the hospitality of people that come from places like Albania or Romania or other countries where the people have just been over the top friendly and quite hospitable. Now, if you'd rather read the article, hit the button in the show notes and check it out there. Let's hear a quick word about our sponsors before jumping in to how we can learn to be a bit more hospitable. The first sponsor for this episode is Lady Boss. Lady Boss is a women's fitness and health company that really tries to provide as many resources as possible to help women live the healthiest lives possible. So if you want to check out some of their free resources, you can head on over to theformulapodcast.com's sponsored products page and click the link there to head to their website and see what types of different free guides and workout plans, stuff like that they have available for you. Now, our second sponsor for this episode is Liquid Web. If you've listened to any of our episodes about launching your own e-commerce company or an online business, they have these pre-made solutions for you that you can just go on over and sign up for. Now, if you check the show notes, they provided Formula Podcast listeners with a little bit of a coupon code, so you can just check out the show notes. I believe it's Formula 33. You get 33% off all Liquid Web products. So big shout out to them for hooking us up. Now, let's get on with the show. I was getting pissed. It was hot as hell and I hadn't eaten all day. My two travel mates and I were hangry, standing on a corner of a colorful, rundown-looking street in Tirana trying to find our Airbnb. As we were standing there, and I was fuming at my smartphone trying to navigate an address that apparently didn't exist, an older Albanian woman approached us. She proudly stated that she spoke English, that we appeared to be lost, and that she would like to help. She wasn't the only one who offered to help. We stood on that corner for less than 10 minutes and had at least a half dozen locals walk up and ask us if we needed any help. With the help of this lovely old woman and a friendly coffee shop owner, we finally found the correct location, relieved ourselves from the heat, and finally got a bite to eat. Now, this level of friendliness and hospitality has been my experience the entire time I was in Albania. Hospitality is defined as the friendly and generous reception and entertainment of guests, visitors, or strangers. Albania has been the definition of hospitality. It feels as if most locals make it their purpose to make you feel at home while visiting their beautiful country. They don't have much, but they're willing to bend over backwards to make sure that you're taken care of. Now, the smaller the size of the city, the more the hospitality seems to stand out. As a friend of mine suggested, wherever you go, country folk are country folk, which that means that in the countryside, people tend to be a bit friendlier than people living in larger urban areas. The accommodation shown to guests was on display in the Mikasa Estukasa hostel in Shkodër. Shkodër is a smaller city in northern Albania, where my friends and I stayed for just over a week. The owners and staff treated us like family. Better, in fact, that many families treat their own relatives. They cooked for us and went out of their way to ensure that we saw the best that Shkodër had to offer. This led us to an afternoon on a beach at nearby Shkodër Lake. An elderly man who owns a home right off the beach opens up his home and cooks for beachgoers as a makeshift restaurant. I couldn't understand a word he said, but the food, even just thinking about it now, is making my mouth water. Thinking about the fresh vegetable dishes he served, they were delicious. After we'd eaten and we were out on our way to leave, he smiled and gave us hugs on the way out. A delicious meal served with a smile and a goodbye with a grateful hug. What the hell is this place? After we had checked into the Airbnb that I mentioned before, one of my travel friends asked if he thought we'd be treated this way back home. My answer was it probably depended on where you were and what you looked like. Not going to dive into this point too much, but if you look a certain way back in the US, it's more likely somebody would call the police than help you find your destination. I've stewed on this question a bit for the past few days and asked myself if I would show this type of hospitality to strangers too. Before I had experienced something like this, the answer was probably not. Reasons like fear of strangers or just being too busy to help run through my mind, but the question I have is, how does this mindset change? How can we bring home some of this Albanian hospitality? Maybe it's going out of a way to help strangers who are lost, or inviting our neighbors over for dinner and sharing a delightful meal. Or being less afraid of people we don't know so we can share experiences with people who are likely very similar to us. Or maybe it is simply being kind to someone on a day when they just need a friend. After spending most of July in Albania, I could go on and on about the hospitality we've been shown. The main thing I've learned is that I can choose to be more hospitable wherever I go and bring a little piece of Albanian hospitality with me. Can you? What else can we do to bring hospitality back to our own neighborhoods? Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode. After reading this essay again, I really have one challenge I want to leave you and myself moving forward. How can we be more hospitable to just one person this week? Pay for their coffee, carry their groceries, or maybe just inviting a neighbor or friend over for dinner. Let me know how it goes. Shoot me an email, trevor@theformulapodcast.com, and let me know how your experiment in hospitality affects you and maybe the person that you help out. That's all for this episode, and thank you for taking the time to stop by, and I look forward to you tuning in next time.